Awesome. All right, folks, I think we are live on YouTube, but again, as usual, you please confirm on chat if the AV is clear. I will also check my YouTube in the meantime to see if everything is okay. But let me know on chat ASAP if you can hear me and see me clearly. Rather, hear me and see us clearly. Okay, awesome. So my team has confirmed. Great. Good evening, everyone. So we're back with another YouTube live on our 2IM channel. And this one is, again, a special one because it's, again, student interaction. And as you know, as I've mentioned before on YouTube live, student interactions are the best sessions, according to me, right? I mean, I love interacting with students, and that's one of the reasons I became a teacher. So it's always good to interact with students because I think students bring a sense of energy, enthusiasm, and a lot to the table that potentially the admissions team and the other folks from management can't, right? I love interacting with them as well. So don't get me wrong, but students obviously have a soft spot for students, right? Being a teacher. Okay, that's it. So this session is going to be about TISS, right? Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and specifically through CAT, there are 3 programs that you can get through to TISS through CAT, but we're going to focus on one program today, which is human resources and labor relations, right? So there are 2 other programs as well. There is ODCL, which is organizational development, and there is a healthcare program. We're not going to talk about that today because the students today are representing the HRM and LR program. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Now, how it's going to work is the students here, I'll introduce them, and then they have a PPT that they'll run for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll have lots of time for your live questions on YouTube chat. Okay, so you can keep putting your questions on YouTube chat and they will get to it as soon as possible. Okay, awesome. So on that note, I'd like to welcome the 2 brilliant students from TISS, HRM and LR. We have Kalpita Mudoi and Grusha Krishnani. Okay, welcome folks, and thanks for taking out the time to join in. I'll just quickly introduce them and hand it over. So Kalpita Mudoi is a first-year HRM and LR student at TISS Mumbai. She's also part of the Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee. And she has a background in basic sciences with a master's in chemistry from IIT Guwahati and is a fresher. Okay, so that's Kalpita. Grusha Krishnani is a first-year HRM and LR student as well from TISS Mumbai. She's a member of the Junior Forum Committee. She has a bachelor's in business administration, and she brings prior experience teaching English. Okay, that's good to know, and public speaking. Both of English and public speaking, both are my passions. And so good to see you, Grusha, as well. Thanks for taking out the time. Amazing. So I'll hand it over to you folks, right? The floor is yours, and then I'll come back at the end for the closing. If you need me, I'll be in the background. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. So we'll just start with the presentation then. So if someone could please quickly confirm on the chat if it's visible. Okay, I think it's working. So hi, everyone. To everyone who's joined in the session, thank you so much. We promise to make it informative and fruitful for you. So this is a special session called Chat with TISSians. And this one is presented to you by the Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee of TISS, HRM and LR Mumbai. And this one's also special because we've collaborated with 2IM, the wonderful platform for CAT preparation. And the initiative Chat with TISSians is with the broad intent of reaching out to our aspirants and bridging the gap that lies between the student community of TISS, HRM and LR and the budding aspirants over there. So we hope to make this session fruitful and take up a lot of questions. And this year, the theme is Empower Your Dreams, a nod to the dreams and aspirations of the students here, the aspirants here, who dream of making it to TISS. So with that, because Jatin has already introduced us with quite a lovely introduction, so we'll just move on to the next slide. Yeah.
So I'll quickly take you through the agenda that we have decided for the meeting. Firstly, we're going to address life at TISS because I'm sure many of you are curious what actually happens at TISS. Then we'll take you through the admission criteria, what are the steps that are followed, the selection process that will be followed thereafter, and of course, the frequently asked questions. So we had floated a Google form earlier. We'll first be taking those questions on priority. And of course, if you have any questions, you can enter that in the live chat and we'll take them up too.
So I'm sure that those of you who have joined us today must be knowing something or the other about TISS, but let us take you through a brief history of the institute. So TISS is nestled in legacy and rich history. It was established almost more than 80 years back in 1936, and it started as Sir Dorabji Tata Graduate School of Social Work. And then in 1944, it also gained the status of a deemed university. Now we have 4 campuses in the country and spread across 4 cities. So the first one would, of course, be TISS Mumbai, and then the most recent one is in Guwahati. We also have a campus in Tuljapur and in Hyderabad. So overall, there are more than 69 programs that are offered. And it is, as you'd expect with any world-class learning institute, with the best amenities and the most conducive learning environment. And that's also exemplified and reflected in the national accreditation score that you can see. It has a 3.89 out of 4, so a near perfect score. And that's exemplified by the curriculum that's followed here, the unmatched pedagogy that we follow here. And we'll talk more about that. Let's move on for now. Yeah. So now talking about the agenda here and why we are here today. So we are here to talk about the Human Resource Management and Labor Relations course, which is also the flagship course of TISS Mumbai. And it started off as a social work specialization in labor welfare and industrial relations. And until 2006, it was actually called PMIR, which stands for Personal Management and Industrial Relations. And back in 2006, it actually got changed to HRM and LR, which is Human Resource Management and Labor Relations. And this was also considering the fact that the industry was seeing massive changes, a wave of change. And personal management was so much more and beyond just industrial relations. So we are really, really lucky and happy to announce that even when we talk about the HRM and LR program, it's just not, we're not just talking about India, but it's one of the most prestigious programs that you could be in, especially for HR, and not just in India, but all across the globe. And we also have a Society for Human Resource Management accreditation. And if you've heard anything about HR, I'm sure you know that it's such a prestigious and incredible accolade to have. And we've also been featured, TISS has also been featured as one of the greatest places to study by Forbes.
Okay, so now coming to the unmatched pedagogy. Firstly, how is TISS different from the other B schools, right? Why would you apply for TISS? So we need to, the factor that we're offering that's different is apart from just the business aspect or the HR aspect, there is so much more involved in that. There is psychology involved in that. We focus on being generally aware what's going on in the society, what's going on in politics, economics, everything, because it's a social science institute. And we also interact with people from other courses. We learn so much from them. As Kalpita earlier mentioned, that there are 69 courses happening right now in TISS, and not just business related is just HR. There are all other courses are social science related. And what is it that TISS is offering that's different? Coming to your summer internship, right? So summer internship is something that happens at the end of the first year. But apart from that, we also have 4 field works that happen. Now, these 4 field works are block field works. So essentially, after your, let's say, semester 1 is over, you go for a month and you work in an organization, right? So before your summers, you've already worked in 2 different organizations. So you've already been able to apply the theory that you've learned. You've been able to apply that in the organizations, which is something that we're doing currently. And apart from that, there is also an NGO stint, a 1-month NGO stint. And
have that covered in the
yeah,
slide.
and we can also do research that happens from second semester to the last semester. So we'll be taking that up now. And the research doesn't have to be just related to HR. You can take up literally any topic of your interest, and you can approach the faculty that will be associated with your topic of interest.
And stressing more on the field works here, because it's unlike any other B school that you get 6 months of exposure, and across industries that exposure will be in different sectors, and you get to interact also with a pool of students, and especially even if you talk to the guys in your class, that's 60 people, and they are placed in over 40 organizations. So it's an exposure like no other B school. And even through field works, you get the opportunity of getting placed somewhere. So that's an incredible opportunity to be able to even go and interact with people at the level of CHROs and have that interaction with the student pools, the student community, as well as these top executives. It's an opportunity like no other. So it's definitely and genuinely a unique selling point of this. Yeah.
Just a second.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you're on the desert.
So as I was talking earlier, apart from the fieldwork, there is also an NGO stint, right? So even in this, you are able to apply what you've learned in practice, and not just in the organization aspect, but actually do something for a social cause, right? So it helps us develop a well-rounded perspective. And you are not just, while HR is there, you are specializing in HR, but that's not the only thing that you're learning. You get a wholesome development through marketing, finance, and operations. You're learning everything, which of course is required even when you're in the field of HR. Apart from that, we also have exchange programs. So we have tie-ups with universities in Australia and the UK. So you can look that up on our website as well if that is something that interests you. And not just NGOs, we also have rural immersion programs, which also helps us develop a holistic approach.
Right. So overall, as Grusha also mentioned, this is an institution really grooms you to have that multifaceted and holistic approach, because at its core and heart, it's a social sciences institution. So it also has that social sciences orientation and to make you socially sensible and groomed from diverse perspectives. So we're talking about, So we're talking about field work. So at the end of every semester, you have one field work. So we have exposure to 4 industries by then. And before you even join an organization for your summers, you've already had 2 fieldworks. That also grooms you and gives you the experience, and it enables you to make the best out of your summers as well. So these are some of our common fieldwork recruiters and all the big names that you can think of. I'm sure you can see on the slide. So let's go ahead. Yeah. So we're talking about case competitions here. Now, what happens with these case competitions is that they groom you. They could be either corporate case competitions or those organized by B schools or other institutions. And what happens with these is that these competitions really groom you and enable you to have that bent of mind where you can put yourselves into the shoes of executives and think about how to solve a certain problem. So you go more into the problem solving aspect. And you can see that from our batch, even from our senior batches, we've had many national finalists and many winners. In fact, this lovely photo of Team Incognito here is from our batchmates, from our 3 students from our batch. So this is definitely not an exhaustive list. We have many case competitions and many students who are participating there and winning accolades for the institute. So Interurban by ITC, Line by HUL, many of these. Yeah.
Now, coming to the industry exposure that you get through this HRM and LR program, we have a lot of guest lectures that happen. So apart from the academics, you are also learning from the senior experts, right? They also have something different to offer. That is one aspect of it. And also you get to connect with so many people already when you're in college. And many of them are TISS alumni itself. So that's a great exposure that this course provides. And also coming to the summer placements, which is an aspect that everybody is interested in. You can already see the big names here. These are names that you almost hear every single day, right? So these are the biggest recruiters that come on campus. And yeah.
So this is just a snapshot of the figures, and we need not really iterate and reiterate on the placements and how good they are at this, but we're just taking it through a snapshot, and the numbers speak for themselves really here. So just quickly moving on. These are some of our final recruiters, and you can see that it's at par with any tier 1 B school in India. All the premium packages and all the dream companies that you can think of do come to TISS to hire you. And the stress is also on the aspect that this really grooms you to be that person who's competent enough and is educated and knowledgeable enough to take on these challenging roles and contribute meaningfully to these organizations. So that's what TISS does to you. It actually grooms you from a holistic level and different multifaceted perspective.
Now coming to life at TISS. So we have something or the other going on all the time, right from when we came. We came in August. After that, there was Ganesh Chaturthi, there is Diwali. So some or the other festival is always on. Something or the other, you will just pass by the campus and you will see some decoration and you can just join in. And the best aspect of all this is that it is student driven, right? So it is all organized from the perspective of students taking their inputs. So it becomes all the more fun. And we would also be having our biggest fest, Manthan, coming up soon. So that is something to look forward to.
So you'll never have a dull day at TISS, that's for sure. And that's something that even our seniors have been saying. We have been witnessing that firsthand. There's always something or the other going on in the campus. So it keeps you engaged and it keeps you that feel of being in a lively and vibrant campus.
Right. So now coming to the alumni of our course, now this is definitely not an exhaustive list, but if you just have a glance at it, right, they are from companies like Vistara, ABG, Colgate Palmolive, ITC Infotech. All these are our legacy recruiters, and also like you would see that they are in such senior positions at this point, right? So there are two aspects to it. Firstly, when you join this course, when you come to campus, when you are associated with TISS, HRM, and LR, that opens so many avenues for you to connect with such people, right? If tomorrow you need help, you can just reach out to any of them, say that I am from this course, can you please help me out with this? And they would be ever ready to do so, just because you carry that tag. And secondly, if you look at the positions that they're working at, the companies that they're working at, it kind of gives you a glimpse of the trajectory, the career trajectory that you can have 10 to 15 years down the line. And this is just, like I said, it's not even an exhaustive list. And here are some more alumni.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're from an institution like this, you get this rich pool of alumni to interact with, and because we are ourselves, we are engaged in our fieldworks right now, so we get to experience this firsthand. That whenever you walk up to someone who's an alum from TISS, that person would always be ready to help you and be warm to you because they've been through the same experiences.
Right.
They've been part of the same institution, and you can see that being from a tier 1 B school like this, it's in fact much more than just a B school. So you have this rich pool of alumni that you can connect to and always take guidance from. So that's always a big plus point to have.
Right, and we've been experiencing this more so right now in our fieldworks,
Right.
wherein we are given projects and we need certain guidance. That's when we're actually realizing the importance of carrying this tag and being a part of this legacy.
Definitely, yeah. So coming to an important part of the deck here, because we're addressing the admission criteria and the shortlisting criteria as well in today's session. So the online submission of the application form through the TISS website, I'll just read it for you. It's appln.tiss.edu. So you could go to their website and fill the form. I'm sure most of you already have filled the form. And if you haven't, do that, because we recommend that you fill the form earlier than the last date to avoid last minute rush. It opened on 9th November and it goes up to 9th December. And please note that you should have mandatorily appeared for CAT. For the first time in the history of HRM and LR admissions, TISS is taking candidates and aspirants through CAT and not CUPG. So you must have mandatorily given CAT and then also mandatorily filled up the form before 9th December or on 9th of December. And please note that even for the application fees, even if you have filled the form, you will have to pay the application fees by 9th of December 2024. And then if you want to make any corrections in the particulars of the application form, so that goes live from 10th to 12th December, so a period of 3 days when you could do that. And the announcement of the shortlisted candidates to the online interview would be on 10th February 2025. So these are tentative dates that are listed there on the website as well. And you could take a look there as well for more clarity. But we're taking you through the brief pointers here. And the opening of DAF form. DAF is detailed application form. So that starts on 19th February and goes up to 21st February. That forms a very important part of the application process. And as a part of the ARC initiatives, we'll be taking many more such sessions on PI, on filling up the DAF. So don't worry about that. And even for the online personal interviews, that if you do get a shortlist for the interview, your interviews are going to happen in the timeline of 25th February to 12th March. And then the announcement of final merit list is on 4th April 2025. And we hope that at least some of you who are watching us live will make it to the campus next time. We're very excitedly waiting for you guys to come.
Now coming to the minimum CAT percentile for initial shortlisting. While this is already available on the site, you can go through it. So I'll just quickly take you through it and not waste much time. So there are 3 components in the CAT exam, right? Verbal ability, data interpretation, and quant aptitude. So for each category, there will be a separate cutoff, sectional cutoff, and also the overall cutoff. The overall cutoff is generally on the higher end than the sectional cutoffs. So for general category AF, KM and EWS, it will be 60 for each section and 70 overall. For NC OBC, it will be 54 for each section and 63 overall. For SC and ST categories, it will be 45 for each section and 55 overall. And now coming to the criteria for selection, now this is also a very important aspect. So your stage 1 will be shortlisting for the online interview. This will be based majorly on your CAT score. 95% weightage is given to that and 5% to the gender diversity. Then the second aspect is shortlisting for final merit list after you have given the online interview. In that, CAT score weightage carries 70%, graduation marks is 10%, and online interview is 20%. Now, please make note that while this 20% might feel like a small percentage, but it could be a make or break. So please do prepare well for the interviews.
So we, as TISS, HRM and LR, Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee, you could reach out to us. We are on many platforms. We have the social media handles on Facebook, LinkedIn, we are on Twitter. We're also on Instagram and YouTube. So please feel free to reach out to us with any queries that you might have. And if you do know the answer, we'll definitely get back at you. And if you don't know, in case, we'll just look through it and make it possible for you to get the answers. So please do reach out to us. And for all the updates regarding the admission-related process and how to prepare better for the admission process and the upcoming selection process, please make sure to follow us on these handles. So yeah, I think we can open the floor to the questions now. And of course, all the very best to all the candidates from the entire student community of TISS, HRM and LR, both the cohort of batches 23 and 25. And we hope that you prepare well, and we hope to see some of you in the campus.
Yes.
So also a big shout out to IIM for letting this collab happen. And we're really grateful for that. So gracious thanks from our side to both of you, Jatin and Abhishek. Thank you so much.
Folks, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. Thanks for taking out the time. There are lots of questions I'm sure the students have. So,
Yes,
but thank you for taking out the time. Really appreciate it. Was a very useful presentation. One thing, folks, that I wanted to, my video is off. So pardon me on that. So one thing that I wanted to mention in the beginning is I've been in this CAT coaching industry for a while now, for a few years. One thing that I've noticed is for some reason, TISS is an underrated school, right? It's a fantastic school, right? I mean, you saw the alumni. In my corporate career, I've worked with alumni from TISS, and they have been nothing but brilliant. So it's a highly underrated school. It's like the dark horse, right? You don't get to hear a lot about TISS, but it's fantastic, right? From academics to placements. And yes, the program that they have is not called MBA, but the placements and the other factors are as good as an MBA specialization in HR and LR from a tier 1 school, right? So definitely consider the school, and I'm glad that these students are creating awareness about it. It's a formidable option in the HR domain, so definitely consider that. Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jatin.
Thank you so much, Jatin.
Yeah. So I think we'll just quickly take up a few questions that we had. So we had floated a Google form, and we have a few questions. So the first one says how to prepare for the interview and extempore for TISS. So first of all, if you're applying for the HRM and LR course this time, there's no extempore round. It's just going to be the personal interview round. And for that, we'll just, I think, both share our personal experiences.
Sure.
First, yeah.
Sure. So see, firstly, like I mentioned earlier, please don't take it for granted, right? Now CAT is done and you cannot do anything about your academic score as well. So this 20% is literally your make or break situation. That is all where you can work hard and change the outcome, right? So please work hard towards it, follow channels that are giving the right guidance. But overall, if I had to tell how to prepare for the interview, I think there are just 2-3 pointers. Firstly, know yourself very well, right? You have to be aware of every decision that you took, why you took that. And then if you are a fresher, then specifically focus on your academics, be clear with everything. And if you come with WorkX, then also know everything about your organization, what kind of work you were doing there. So I think knowing everything about yourself, why you are choosing this course, and of course, it's a social science institute, so also being socially aware is extremely important.
Yeah, I think as Grusha said, it's extremely important to have clarity with your answers because you're trying to convince a panel. It's usually, there are usually 3 panelists for the interview. So be clear with your answers, be confident, be calm. We'll have many more sessions for the personal interview rounds, but just sharing from our personal experiences, I think it's good to have even a general awareness of things. You like you're applying for a course in HR. So you must be aware of certain things, the new trends that are coming in. So that always helps. Even if you do not get a question on that directly, it will always help you groom and frame your answers better. So I'd say go with that. And if you're a fresher, from a fresher's perspective, definitely have a strong hold, a good conceptual hold of your academic subjects that you studied for your bachelor's or master's. So have a good grasp on that. You will not be like very proficient and remember everything, but definitely have the basics clear. Because even for my interview, I have a very different background, right? So this is sort of an academic transition for me as well. So for me, in the interview, a lot of questions were asked from my background first, and then they went on to tweak the questions, in line with how will you take that up as an HR professional, your chemical plan, so these sort of questions. So I'd say go through a few websites like People Matters, and just be clear with your answers. That always helps. And we'll have many more sessions, so stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah. I'd also like to add one more thing. I can understand this entire process can be very nerve-wracking, right? Especially the interview part. So just stay calm, especially at TISS. I don't think any one of us had a grilling experience with the panelists, right? They were extremely accommodating, especially in my case. Like there was one instance where I fumbled and I straight up said that I do not know the answer. But one of the other panelists who did not ask the question told me, "Are you sure? Would you like to take 2 minutes and understand the question better?" So they just want to get to know you, right? So just be calm and know yourself. That's about it.
It's
Yeah, and I
also
think
because it's
sorry to interrupt. I just remembered something. I was
No,
just having this
Yeah,
conversation in the morning. One thing to note, because I train students in mock interviews, one answer that I very often hear is when you ask them why HR, the answer that comes up is because I like working with people, right? Or I like people. That answer, and these students will vouch for it, is not going to cut in an interview. Okay, it's not going to do any good to you because the panelists have heard this 10,000 times. And it's become such a cliche that it doesn't really hold any meaning, right? They'll just like brush it off. So just because you like people is not reason enough for you to get into HR, right? So yeah, definitely listen to their advice, learn about HR, and you need to be prepared with that answer, right? As to why you want to get into HR. Yeah, so just wanted to mention that. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you're faking it, they can see through you. They have that much experience. So don't just bluff around. Be honest with yourself and the panelists.
Exactly. So just be clear with your reasons, because it's also good for you to know why you're getting into a course, why you're getting into HR, and what really motivates you. So have your answers clear. So we have another question that says, will you please share the career opportunities available in the HR field? What is the process of getting in TISS for masters? I hope you have clarified the second part of the question, at least from the deck. You must have applied for CAT, and please do fill the application form to be eligible and to be considered in the selection process for TISS, HRM, and LR. And for the opportunities, about the career opportunities that are available in the HR field, Grusha, will you take that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, see, I would say firstly, HR is a very underrated field because even in India, if you see, there are very few top institutes offering the specialization in this course or are well known for this course, right? So it's underrated compared to other specializations. But when I talk about the multiple avenues that are available after you do this course, like there is compensation and benefits where you take care of the salaries of the employees. There is learning and development, and all of these are very strategic roles. You can't just learn theory and simply apply it to that. There is talent acquisition, so there are multiple avenues that are available once you get out of the course.
And even for HR, if you choose TISS over any other B school, the advantage is also that because this course is such that it's a unique blend of both academia and the industry exposure. So it helps you get that perspective and helps you navigate the journey further. When you've already had 4 fieldworks, you know what you're getting into and what you should expect out of a corporate career. So of course, you first join as a management trainee, and then you could take up various roles. You could go into various centers of expertise, as she mentioned, it could be performance management, L&D, it could be talent acquisition. You'll definitely learn more of that. And please do go through the multiple online resources that we have available as well, as to get more clarity into what really interests you. And that will really help.
Yeah. Also, what happens is when you do these fieldworks plus your summers, right? So in every fieldwork, you mostly get like a different role and a different industry. So you get a taste of everything, and then you are even more clear of what you want after you graduate compared to other places where it's just, theory. So you are also more clear after 2 years what you want to take up.
I hope that answers your question, Rukmini. Thank you for sending in the question. We have another question that says, I did post-graduation in Industrial Relations and Personal Management in Berhampur University. I still have no job in my hand. I want to know what is life like in TISS, and I want to join this platform, but I have no idea what's the eligibility to join in TISS. I hope we've at least covered some part of your question in the PPT, in the deck that we presented. So yes, to be eligible, you just have to have passed in all the subjects that you took in your master's or bachelor's course. So I'm sure you're eligible. Please do fill the application form. And I think you must have applied, sat for CAT as well. So that's important. These two factors, do fill the application form and you'll be considered in the selection process. So that's all we can tell you. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a job in hand right now. Having gap years also doesn't matter. It is not a part of the selection criteria here at TISS. So please do apply. Someone has asked about the lifestyle of a TISS Mumbai student. Is it hectic or is it a normal schedule?
Okay. So I'd like to take up, just apart from the academics, there is so much more that's going on campus. Firstly, the field works, right? So you cannot have the normal attitude of a laid back student, right? So you have to be proactive, you have to take initiative. And in fact, fieldworks carry the most credit. So you have to be sincere, at least during that time. And also, apart from that, you have your committee works going on. So that is one aspect. And it's also what you make out of the life here, be it here or in any institute. If you have a laid back attitude, then you will just go through the 2 years. If you really want to learn, then you will push yourself more. So it's also on you whether you want to make it hectic or not.
Right. And in many ways, it's also a window to the life that you're going to have ahead of after you complete the course at TISS, right? So it's also a window to the corporate life that you're going to have. And that's always going to be hectic. And it's also a matter of choice. If you want to apply to many committees, if you want to focus more on academics, it's always a choice. There's always a choice everywhere. So it is hectic, but then it also grooms you in many ways. So you'll enjoy the process and you'll get the hang of it gradually. At least for us,
Right.
that's happening for now. Yeah. So we also have a few questions that are coming up in our live chat. I have a 4-year UPSC gap. Does it nullify my 20 months work experience prior to said gap? Definitely not. If you do have work experience, it always counts. The fact that you have 4 years of UPSC gap does not make a difference. In fact, you can use this to frame an answer and show what it actually taught you. Having these 4 years of gap must have taught you something in life, right? So you can always give it a positive bent of things and frame your answer in a way that it actually helped you groom your personality. So definitely not. That gap years do not form a part of the evaluation criteria. Someone has asked for the cutoff, iterating and reiterating that we would not be in the place to actually give you a number. Also because there's no trend analysis available, right? This is taking CAT scores for the first time. So we do not have a number to go by. So the best advice that we could give you at the moment would be to, don't count yourself out of the race. Please do apply and try your luck. Even if you are thinking that your CAT score might not be good enough, see, there's a 70-20-10 rule going on here, right? 70% to your CAT score, but there's still 10% to your graduation marks and 20% for the personal interview. And that could be really a game changer. So please be optimistic about it. Please do apply. And there's always, even sitting for the interview experience at TISS is great because you get to interact with a panel that's so experienced. So it'll always be a fruitful experience for you. Someone has asked, what's a safe percentile? Again, and it doesn't matter if you are a general male engineer, because even for the first selection criteria, for the first shortlist that comes out, it's 95% CAT score and 5% for gender diversity. So it doesn't matter. And also, please look at the academic categories that we have this time. So if you're from, say, if you've done your bachelor's in a humanities course, that's going to be different from if you've done an MBBS from an institute. So the scores will have the raw percentiles, the raw scores that are attached to the percentage that have scored in your bachelor's will be different. So if you want to have more clarity, please go through the academic categories. These are explicitly mentioned in the application portal. So make sure to go through that as well. What all things does a DAF include? Grusha, you want to take up
Yeah,
this?
sure. So DAF is essentially like your statement of purpose, right? It's a way that before the interview, the panelists want to know you better. So it will include your academic background, which is, at least for us, it was that last year. It will include your academic background, but that has already been provided for. That's how you are shortlisted. And second thing is knowing more about yourself, right? So your entire journey until now, not just professionally, but they want to know you in a holistic manner. That is why I said that you should be more aware about yourselves. So detailed application form is literally how it's called out. It's a detailed application form about yourself. So there is no one-liner answer. You have to know yourself and describe yourself in a wholesome manner.
Right. And we would be having sessions regarding that as well, how to fill the DAF, what should be your answer. I mean, what could be an appropriate answer? It's always personalized and you explore and capture your journey over there, what matters to you and what's your story. So they just want to hear more about you so they can frame the questions in the interview as well. And even the DAF matters a lot in the admission process. So we'll be having more sessions regarding that as well.
It's a pretty basic form. It's just like there are two aspects to it. One is knowing yourself better, and then second is why HR. So like Jatin said, I like working with people, not enough. So these are the two important aspects of DAF.
There's also a question that would the PI be online or offline this time? I think for us it was online. So be prepared for both, but it's most probably going to be online. But we will
as the date
ask you
gets
to confirm
sooner,
that.
you will be notified well in
Yes.
advance.
Is TISS only accepting CAT? Yes, this time TISS is only accepting CAT scores. So you must have mandatorily appeared for CAT. And if you have, and if you want to, if you wish to join the program, do fill the application form as well. There's a detailed form filling video as well that's available on YouTube, brought to you by the ARC. So please go through that in case you find any problems and any technical difficulties. Then please go through the video that will help clarify things. And in case any of you is facing trouble with entering something onto the form and you want to have more clarity regarding your marks and percentages, you can always reach out to the admission helpline, the TISS care number that's available on the admission portal. So please do reach out to them for any queries of that sort. And you can always also reach out to us on social media handles. We'll take the responsibility of directing you to the right person to guide you on this. So make sure to do that. Hi, can you please give any insights about the programs offered by TISS? Planning on filling the form, but was guided that it is an HR only college. As we cover in the PPT, actually TISS offers 69 programs, and that's across the 4 campuses. But if you're specifically interested in the HRM and LR program, that's what we're here for. And for that, TISS is now accepting CAT scores. So it is definitely not only an HR college, but HRM and LR is one of the flagship courses offered by TISS Mumbai. So if you do have a keen interest for the field of HR and you want to explore more, you can definitely, consider this program and apply for it.
And if you are interested in other courses, then you can look up the list, and what the best way would be on LinkedIn. You can reach out to them and understand what other courses are offered and which one interests you better. So you can have your preference list ready based on that.
There's a very detailed description to each course that's available on the website. So please do go through that as well. As for the HRM and LR course, we can definitely vouch for that it's one of the best courses to be in if you're studying HR, not just in India, but also globally accredited. Someone has also asked, what is the expected total seats this time? See, the total seat intake is 60. It's always around that. So try to think of it that way. That's the figure that we can give you.
Someone has also asked, how does it affect the fact that I am a science background? Is it okay if we fill it on our own and with no one's help? So can I take that up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so she is also from science background. We have many people from science background. It does not matter. TISS is a social science institute, right? So all fields are, given equal importance. It's on you. What do you want from the person? If you're able to justify that. That is one aspect of it. And is it okay if we fill it on our own and with no one's help? Absolutely. Nobody can know yourself better than you, right? So that is one thing. But of course, if you can get some sort of informal, formal, any sort of guidance or a review after you have filled your draft, that would be great to get more perspectives.
Exactly. If you're speaking about the application form, then definitely. And if you're talking about the DAF, definitely make more people go through it, have their insights, just to know your answers better if you've written it well. So that always helps.
Yeah, you can anytime reach out to any of us, like HRM and LR students, be it us, our seniors, anybody you find, and everybody is ever ready to help. So you can just reach out to anyone.
And please don't be apprehensive about the backgrounds, because even in our batch, we have people from diverse academic backgrounds. There's people from sciences, from humanities, from law. There are dentists in our course and doctors. So please don't be worried about that. This accepts, people from diverse backgrounds. And we just had, our 99 batch alumni meet a few days ago. And one of our alums actually used this very interesting line. She said, "This is a melting pot of culture." But I'd rephrase that and say that this is also a melting pot of diverse backgrounds, be it your academic background, be it where you're from. So it's a very lively campus that way. And even the course accommodates all sorts of oddballs that you might think. So please don't be apprehensive about your background, because this is also one of the factors that sets apart TISS. It's not a part of the evaluation criteria. We can definitely apply whatever may be your academic background, and know how to use it in your in a way to frame your answers in that direction. Even for the personal interview, talk about that, get your concepts clear and get your answers clear as to why you're doing HR, and that always helps. So please don't worry about the background. Yeah, do we have this software MA course? How is it different from a normal MBA course? Can I take that?
Yeah, sure. So, see, ultimately, HRM is the flagship course of TISS. So, how is it different from an MBA? I would say personally that it kind of gives you more freedom to explore, your ideologies. That's what comes with an arts background, right? In MBA, you learn core businesses only. But here, like I said, now in the second semester, we have to choose our electives, in which we have such, like I have chosen human growth and behavior, right? So that is not business related at all. So that is the kind of freedom that a master's in arts course gives you that a normal MBA wouldn't, right? But I would say ultimately, after you graduate, yes, the TISS tag will be there, the HRM and LR tag will be there. But what did you do out of the life here at TISS in 2 years, and what do you do later on? That is what will take you ahead in life. So it doesn't matter whether you graduate from an MBA or an MA, it's what you make out of it.
We have a question coming up from a lovely lady called Ravinder, who asks, also I'm postgrad from 2019 and I have 2 years of work experience. I'm married and have a baby too. How healthy is this environment for a person like me? So I think TISS is very accepting of all kinds of people. You need not worry, as long as you're confident and as long as you wish to be part of the course. There's nothing to worry about. TISS is very accepting and accommodating that way. So please feel free to apply and don't be apprehensive about it.
Right. She has also asked how adaptive is the panel for a person like me. Now, see, there is no question about a person like me because it is adaptive to literally everybody, which is how a diverse background makes the cohort, right? They are accommodating to everyone. They are extremely calm, patient. In fact, before the interview, it was a very scary experience for me, also just anticipating about it. But I had also read and heard from seniors, they are extremely calm. They just want to get to know you better. So if you are able to, keep your calm and justify your reasons, describe yourself, then you're good to go.
We also have a question that says, what can we read to be updated with the latest trends in HR and answer case study questions related to HR? See, first of all, there's like so many online resources available now. You could always go through that. And you could go through specific websites as well. There's People Matters, and there are several others like that that you could always go through for the latest trends and what's happening around. So good to have an idea about that. There's always one or two books that you could read if you have the time. That does help in the interview as well. So I'd recommend you that.
Someone has also asked, can I get into consulting after joining TISS? Yes, we do have roles in consulting also offered here. A few of people from, our batch, our seniors, have also gotten into consulting roles. So yes, you can. Then
Someone has also asked, TISS is famous for which course? Well, TISS is famous for many courses, but we are here to talk about the HRM and LR program, which is the flagship course here at TISS. So it is definitely famous for HRM and LR as well.
someone has also asked, please talk about Army Force cutoff and criteria. Will it go like criteria 6 or 8? So again, like we mentioned earlier, we cannot talk about cutoffs here as we don't have any trend analysis available. Last year, it was through CUET that the batch came in, and before that it was TISSnet. So TISS has never accepted CAT before this. So we wouldn't be having any data available on that. Just give it your best, be it now CAT is done, so interview is the only aspect that is left, and there are a good 2 months you have in hand, so do prepare well for it.
We also have one of the questions that's come up in our Google form that says, so my question is, what's the expected percentile in CAT we should have to get into TISS HR category wise? And what is the fees for 2 years program? Again, for the expected percentile, we would not be in the right place to comment. We could give you a number, but then that could be very vague and we don't want to mislead you in any way. But what's the fees? TISS is known for, offering a great ROI, a fees of 2 lakhs for 2 years, but then you get a very good placement. So that's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Somebody has asked, is gender diversity marks also provided in final list other than initial shortlisting? So like I mentioned earlier, there is no specified percentage in the final shortlisting. But if you look at it overall, the people who make it to the second stage, that would be based on 5% diversity marks, right? So overall, you can say it is there, but there is no specified percentage for that.
And someone has also asked about 10th and 12th scores being a problem. Please note that TISS is not looking into the 10th and 12th scores. It's only your graduation marks, the percentages that forms 10% of the evaluation criteria for the final shortlist, for the final merit list that comes out. So please take a note of that. Is TISS MA equivalent to PGDM or MBA? Okay, so the TISS MA in HRM and LR is considered equivalent to an MBA in HR. But as we already talked about it, TISS is just so much more than an MBA school. So expect more than what a regular MBA course also offers here. You have fieldwork opportunities, you have foundation courses that you could be a part of. You could be in different CBCS courses. Some of our seniors have taken up courses like film studies, and you don't get to experience that in some other institution, right? And you also have this amazingly talented pool of people whom you can just talk to, people from the diverse courses, so from social work, from courses like a master's in hospital administration. So many courses are there and you could interact with so many of them. So it gives you so much insight and perspective.
Yeah, someone has also written, I'm from microbiology BSc background. I graduated 4 months back. I have no work experience. Does that put me at a disadvantage? Absolutely not. We have people who just graduated this year, last year, people with 3 to 5 years of gap. It doesn't matter at all. In fact, if let's say you make it to TISS, HRM and LR, right? So in these 2 years, even before your summers, you would have 2 months of work experience in different field works. So that kind of gives you the upper hand. It helps you understand the corporate world better. I, for a fact, did not have corporate experience before this, and I'm still learning in my field work. So that does not put you at a disadvantage at all.
Right. In fact, we have many freshers in our batch, so you won't have to worry about that. Nothing puts you at a disadvantage. So be optimistic about it and go for the application process.
Even a 6 years gap for that matter does not put you at a disadvantage. It is what you did in that period. How does it lead you to this course is what matters.
Right, and what you make out of it. Let's see if we have any other questions. So one of the questions is, do students go for exchange program? Yes, I think we covered that in our slide as well.
Yes, we did.
We do offer, TISS does offer exchange programs as well. And you could have exposure and you could go to some other university abroad and learn what all they do and more about the course and have more insights. So TISS also offers that opportunity, yes.
Somebody has also asked that they missed the PPT. If there's any way to review it, yes, it will be saved on 2IIM's YouTube channel, so you can review it later.
You can go through it as many times as you want. And we'll also be having more sessions, so please stay tuned for that as well. We have more questions coming up for cutoff in specific categories, but then reiterating the same answer, we cannot make a comment on that. We're not be at the right position to do that. My graduation marks are obtained in CGPA format. Do I need to write my marks in percentage format, or is CGPA good enough for the application form? I'm not sure how to go about the conversion. I think you can always talk about it to someone from your institute and get it verified. What exactly is the conversion criteria? It's different for different institutes. So talk to the admin in your institute, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you with that. TISS does require a conversion certificate, especially if you do get accepted into the program. So be ready for that as well and get it clarified that what exactly is the conversion criteria for your institute. Can you give a brief description of the meet? Well, we are just taking up questions now. So if you have any queries regarding the process, regarding life at TISS, please do send us to queries in the live chat and we'll address that.
So someone has asked when CUET exam is conducted. We are not taking any admissions through the CUET exam. It's only through CAT, which has already happened, and the forms are closing on 9th December. So please do fill them fast.
In fact, we were the only batch of students who came in through CUET PG. It's CAT this time, so please be mindful of that. In application form, there is a glitch in claiming the OBC category. Even when I opt for OBC category, it says as general merit. I think you'll have to take this up with the helpline. Maybe they'll be able to guide you better on this. And please also do have a look at the form filling video that we have that might clear some things for you.
Okay, Salil has asked, can you give a brief description of the meet? Salil, like we said, this live would be saved, so you can watch it as many times as you want. As we're left with very limited time, we'd like to answer any important questions that come up.
But in brief, we covered why you should be applying for the course, how is the course like, how is life at TISS like. So if you want to know more about that, do go through the video. Do we see any more questions here? Yeah, you can take up that question.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I may ask, how many people are married in your batch, and what's the age of the eldest student in your class? So we do have students ranging from 20, 21 to 32. That is not an issue. And even if you're older, I'm not aware if you are, that is not an issue at all. What should drive you here is your willingness to learn and do this course and make a great career for yourself, right? And no, people are not married in our batch, but we have seniors who are married, so that is not an issue again.
And we've had a lot of questions in the form that have inquired about the GDPI process. So we're not having a GD this time for the selection process for HRM and LR. So it's only going to be a PI. So you need not worry about a group discussion.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah. Again, there's a question on what is hostel life like in TISS. You want to take that up?
Hostel life. So we're both not hostelites. So we won't be able to, I think, answer it very well. But from what we have seen, it's quite vibrant. They keep roaming the campus at even 1 a.m. in the night. So yeah, they live a more lively life than us for sure, because we are outsiders, we have deadlines, but they get more of the TISS campus for sure.
Right. And even if you're not a hostelite, you'd be getting such a vibrant experience just being in the campus and going through all the festivities that we have.
Absolutely.
And all the sessions and even the guest lecture sessions. It's so much of exposure to different content and different events, right? So never be bored at TISS.
There is a question, how is the MA Labor Law degree different than MA HRM? I think there is a confusion. This degree is called HRM and LR. So this is one course. So the main aspect of this is in human resource management. You learn how to work in a corporate sector, but in labor relations, you may also get on-ground roles, right? Factory stints, wherein you're dealing with laborers. So it's both corporate and factory exposure, which is why HRM and LR, which is why masters and not MBA in HR.
Yeah. And someone had asked about how to prepare for the personal interviews, right? I think just tell you this as well, that because the course name reads as Human Resource Management and Labor Relations, right? So make sure to know a little bit about the LR part of the course as
Yes.
well. Do go through what is it all about, some of the labor laws. If you're an employee in India, what laws do apply to you? A major chunk of the course also covers that at TISS. So please go through that as well in case you're asked a question on that in the interview.
Yes, if you are driven to do this course, you should at least be clear with the basics. You will, of course, come here and learn. But if you are interested, you must have read something about it, right? So the panelists would want to know what have you read. So be clear with that.
Yeah. And someone has also inquired about the basic salary that we can expect. So for this, I recommend that, we have our numbers available in multiple online portals. So please go through that. There's also the placement brochure that's available. So please make sure to go through that if you want to have more clarity. And you'll see that the numbers speak for themselves. So that is not an issue at this.
Yeah.
Everything that you can imagine, the top companies and the top recruiters that you dream of and the organizations that you dream of joining will be here at TISS and are regular recruiters. So for the numbers, please refer to the online resources that are available. I think we don't have any more questions as such.
Awesome. Awesome. Very, very interactive session, folks. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And I think you can see from the intensity of questions as to how much interest TISS programs have, which is great. As I said in the beginning, unfortunately, I don't know for what joy, TISS is an underrated school, but TISS is fantastic. And especially if you're focused on HR, it's as good as any other tier 1 school, right? So definitely consider it. And I think the students gave you excellent advice. If you missed a part of the session, do go through the YouTube live stream. It'll be available on our channel forever. So you can go through it at any point in time. Their applications close on 9th, right? So definitely don't wait till the last day. Apply for it. And yeah, all the very best to you. Okay. Thank you both.
And thank you
Great.
so much.
Thanks for having us.
Taking up the session, for having
no
us.
worries at all.
Great
No,
interactivity.
no worries at all. It was a pleasure having you both. And hopefully we can collaborate again. I mean, for GDPI, there were a lot of, not GD, you guys don't have GD. For the PI, maybe you folks can come back and we can have another PI session. Okay. Thank you so much. Right.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Take care. All right. Bye, folks. I'll see you in another YouTube live session soon. Bye.
Bye.